Hello guys, welcome back to another lesson of web systems and technology. So we are on our 7th lesson and this is all about Bootstrap. Now before we proceed with discussing Bootstrap further, I'd like to have a quick review regarding our past lesson or just a quick feedback about cascading style sheets. So on lesson 6, we actually covered the fundamentals of cascading style sheets, including the idea of selectors, methods of setting colors and backgrounds, way of formatting fonts and text, and style in the user interface elements. And we also gave some examples to help you better understand the topics that was discussed on lesson 6, which should guide you on the useful tips and important notes in web designing using CSS. Now, as we move forward, we are going to talk about Bootstrap, and this is going to be our lesson objectives for today. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to understand the features of Bootstrap framework, starting with the basics such as grid system, typography, and styling mechanism, from styling methods or form styling methods, as well as techniques of styling common user interface elements like tables, lists, as well as carousels, among other things. Now, what is Bootstrap all about? Bootstrap is a powerful front-end framework for faster and easier web development. It includes HTML and CSS-based design templates for creating common user interface components like forms, buttons, navigations, drop-downs, alerts, modals, tabs, accordions, carousels, tooltips, and so on. Bootstrap gives you the ability to create flexible and responsive web layouts with much less efforts. Bootstrap was originally created by a designer and a developer at Twitter in mid-2010 before being an open-source framework. Bootstrap was known as Twitter Blueprint. So just to have a quick look back in the history of Bootstrap, it was developed by Mark Otto and Jacob Thornton at Twitter. It was released as an open-source product in August 2011 on GitHub. What is responsive web design? Responsive web design is about creating websites which automatically adjust themselves to look good on all devices, from small phones to large desktops. So we actually use Bootstrap to enable for our web design not to be distorted whenever the users use a different device from another. So you wouldn't know, right? For example, you are designing a website and then initially you plan on using this website using a desktop or a computer. But as our technology progresses, we know that most of the people nowadays are actually using small devices such as smartphones, tablets, iPads. So we cannot really control the things like this. Hindi natin masasabi kung ano bang device ang gagamitin ng audience nyo, ng audience ng inyong website. So the best way for you to make that sort of adjustment without your design of the website being distorted at all, because the user is using a small device, then the answer to that is actually Bootstrap. So why do you need to learn Bootstrap? We had a couple of reasons why. Okay, number 1, mobile first approach. Bootstrap 3 framework consists of mobile first styles throughout the entire library instead of in a separate files. So meaning you could have the entire library for your framework without you having to create multiple separate files for them. Second, browser support. It is supported by all popular browsers such as Safari, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Google Chrome, and of course the Internet Explorer, or what we know now as the Microsoft Edge. Okay. Next is you need to learn Bootstrap because it's easy to get started. With just the knowledge of HTML and CSS, which we actually covered so far, anyone can get started with Bootstrap already. Also, the Bootstrap official site has a good documentation for your resources. It also has a it has a responsive design. So Bootstrap responsive cascading style sheets adjust to desktops, tablets, and mobile, just like what I have mentioned a while ago. More about the responsive design in the chapter Bootstrap will be found in the chapter Bootstrap responsive design. So we'll talk about that more as we progress in the lesson. Well, apart from the four, you need to learn Bootstrap because of the following. It provides a clean and uniform solution for building an interface for developers. It also contains beautiful and functional built-in components which are easy to customize. It also provides web-based customization, and it is best of all, it is an open source, so meaning you can use it whenever you want, whenever you like, for your own web design project. So those are just a few things, a few reasons why you need to learn Bootstrap. Okay, say, ma'am, I know how to use Bootstrap, but how can I apply it? Number one, you can apply it to scaffolding. Bootstrap provides a basic structure with grid system, link styles, and background. So you might probably have questions about scaffolding, but we will talk more of that as we progress in the lesson as well. So whatever you have in mind about scaffolding will be answered. It will be parked for the meantime and will be answered as we progress on the lesson. Second, you can apply Bootstrap for cascading style sheets. Because Bootstrap comes with the feature of global CSS settings, fundamental HTML elements styled and enhanced with extensible classes in an advanced grid system. Next, components. Bootstrap contains over a dozen reusable components built to provide iconography, drop-downs, navigations, alerts, popovers, and much more. So we will be talking about this as I have given you the live demonstration on how to actually apply a Bootstrap into web design. The next application of Bootstrap is the JavaScript plugins. Bootstrap contains over a dozen custom jQuery plugins. You can easily include all of them or one by one. And then lastly, customize, because you can customize Bootstrap's components, less variables, and jQuery plugins to get your very own version. So now let me talk about this terminology that we are using here, which is the grid system. I think I may have to tell you more about it. When we say grid system, it uses a powerful mobile first flexbox build layouts. So meaning it's being used for layouting of shapes and sizes, and like, you know, columnar system, 5 default responsive tiers, variables mixed in, and a dozen of predefined classes. So how does it work? When we say Bootstrap grid system, it uses a series of containers, rows, and columns to lay out and align content. It's built with Flexbox and is fully responsive. When we say responsive, your website will be adjusting according to the size of your screen for whatever device that you may be using. Okay, so you probably be able to appreciate more of this if you're going to create So we're done discussing the applications of Bootstrap. Now let's find out what can we do with Bootstrap. No? Of course, you can easily create responsive websites. You can quickly create multi-column layout with predefined classes. You can quickly create defined or different types of form layouts. You can also quickly create different variation of navigation bar. You can easily create components like accordions, modals, etc. without writing any JavaScript code. Now, ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin accordion? We will be discussing this further once we are already demonstrating the application of Bootstrap. And in addition to this, you can easily create dynamic tabs to manage large amount of content. You can easily create tooltips and popovers to show hidden text. You can easily create carousel or image slider to showcase your content. You can quickly create different types of alert boxes. There's really a lot of things you can do with Bootstrap. It's just a matter of you deciding how are you going to take advantage of those and maximize the benefits of using Bootstrap. Talking about the benefits, what really are the advantages of using Bootstrap? Say, ma'am, I already know how to, or the applications of this Bootstrap, I know how to do it. What's in it for me if I'm going to use it on my web design? Of course, the first reason is for you to save lots of time, because you can save lots of time and efforts using the Bootstrap predefined design, templates, and classes, and concentrate on other developmental work, such as the backend programming. Next, it has responsive features. Using Bootstrap, you can easily create responsive websites that appear more appropriately on different devices and screen resolutions without any change in markup. So whatever your users' devices are, it will be easily, or your web design will be easily adjusting to the device of the user. Next, it has a consistent design. All Bootstrap components share the same design, templates, and styles through a central library, so the design and layout of your web pages will be consistent. Of course, it's easy to use. Bootstrap is very easy to use. Anybody with basic working knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can start developing with Bootstrap. It is also compatible with browsers. Bootstrap is created with modern web browsers in mind, and it's compatible with all modern browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, or Microsoft Edge. And it is open source because it's completely free to download and use. Now, talking about downloading Bootstrap, we need to take note of like an environmental setup before we actually download the Bootstrap. Now, it's just easy to set up, so I advise you guys to actually follow me while doing this. So it is easy to set up and start using Bootstrap. I will explain to you how to download it and set up the Bootstrap, and we will also discuss the Bootstrap file structure and demonstrate its usage with an example. So the first thing that we need to know is that if you don't have a Bootstrap from a CD, you can simply download it to getbootstrap.com. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, go to getbootstrap.com. We'll take you to a website where we can download the software Bootstrap. Okay, hold on. There. Okay, so it says here, build fast, responsive sites with Bootstrap, get started, download. You can download the latest version of the Bootstrap from this website, and when you click on this link, you will get to see the screen right now. Then all you need to do is to click the download button, okay, and then you'll be seeing the screen. Now, all you need to do is to scroll down and click the download button once more. Okay. So wait for your device to actually download the Bootstrap folder. Now, this is the downloaded zip folder that I have. Let's open it. Okay. So, ito na po yung Bootstrap 5.1.3 version. You need to unzip this folder first. Right-click on it. And then extract the files. Okay, so once we extract the files, we're gonna see this. Now you have to make sure that when you extract this, you can save it for the time being. Let's say under documents, create tayo ng folder dito sa documents natin. New folder, lagay po natin is Bootstrap. Okay. And then make sure the Bootstrap folder is selected before clicking OK. Now we're doing this for us to make sure that we know where the extracted files are going to. Now, since we save it in a document with the folder named Bootstrap, ito na po yung ating Bootstrap folder. You're gonna see the CSS folder and the JavaScript folder. Make sure that you copy these folders directly to your web system directory. No? So, yun po yung una natin gagawin. Unzip the Bootstrap folder and then copy this to your web system directory. So, for example, we are going to create a demonstration of Bootstrap project. No, in this case, copy po natin yung CSS and JavaScript folder. Then we go to our sample activities. These are our previous activities that I have given you so far. Now, mag-create po tayo ng panibagong folder or subfolder. Okay, we are going to name our subfolder like the Bootstrap project. Okay. So we have the Bootstrap project, and all of the projects that we are going to make with the use of a Bootstrap will be saved in this one. Now we are going to paste the folders that we copied a while ago, yung ating CSS and JavaScript, to this folder. Now remember, for your Bootstrap to work, your HTML document should be saved inside together with these two folders, the CSS and JavaScript. So now we make our first Bootstrap project HTML document. Let's go to our Notepad editor. Okay, so you can use any notepad that you want. For me, I will be just using this for easier navigation. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is to save this as an HTML file, no? Bootstrap 1. Then let's go to the folder that we created a while ago, right? So it's inside this folder, sample activities, and the Bootstrap project. So make sure that your CSS and JavaScript Bootstrap folder are saved here, and then your HTML file, okay, Bootstrap 1, and save it. Now, what are we gonna do with our Bootstrap file? So what I'm going to need you to do is for you to create, like, you know, an example of like the form that we are creating previously. If you remember, meron po tayo mga ginawa before, but for this case, in this case, what we're going to do is to make a new one. Pero syempre, apply pa rin natin dito yung pag-create ng forms, cascading style sheets, and so on. So let's make from scratch. Of course, we're gonna start with walang kamatayang doc type HTML, and then open an HTML tag, add title. So title natin dito is, let's say, login page na login. Mag-create tayo ng parang login page ng website natin. So next, close po natin or mag-create tayo ng div or division. So by the way, the div element, hindi pa natin ito nadi-discuss. But so far, saan ba ito ginagamit? What is a div element? So a div element is, a div tag rather, defines a division or a section in an HTML document. It can be used as a container for HTML elements, which is then styled with the cascading style sheet or manipulated with JavaScript. So parang nire-ready natin itong division or section for our HTML document para mas madali siyang ma-applyan ng CSS and ng JavaScript. The div tag is easily styled and any sort of content can be put inside a div tag. So just take note that by default, browsers always place a line break before and after the div element automatically. Now, to give you more about div tag, ano bang browsers ang supported ng div tag? Actually, halos lahat ng famous browsers such as Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, and Opera can handle div or support div tags. So, for this, mas madali kasi na merong mga section folder yung ating elements in our folder para mas madali siyang i-set up. Now, madali lang naman po itong gamitan. You can simply follow my tutorial for this. So, dito after our div, nasa na ba tayo? Nasa title login. My apologies. Mag-create tayo ng CSS using the Bootstrap, no? So, yung ating dinownload kanina, gamit tayo ng external CSS. From the CSS folder, gagamitin natin yung bootstrap.min.css. Ilalagay po natin yun sa ating href attribute, and the rel attribute is style sheet. So, yan. So, meron po tayong title over here. Tag ko lang ng konti. And then our link for an external CSS from the Bootstrap folder that we used. And then after that, let us close our head tag. Right. And then, start po tayo sa content ng ating body. So, from here, mag-create tayo or gagamit tayo ng division tag. Inside division tag, we will be accessing the class property. And then, let's type it in here as the jumbo font. Ito, nakikita niyo naman pa kung anong ibig sabihin ko, and I will explain it later. Then, next po, let's create a heading 1. Let's say, welcome to City College of Calamba. Okay. And then, close lang po natin yung ating heading 1. Then, after that, ito yung gagamitin natin na container ng ating heading. So, kung wala na tayo pang ilalagay sa container na yun, let's close it. And then, we will create another division tag for our forms, no? So, dito lagay lang tayo ng parang maliit na heading. H2 is pwede na. Let's say, login. Para lang meron tayong text before login ng username and password. And then, create tayo ng form. Tapos, Sa loob ng form, maglalagay tayo ng another division para naman sa form groups natin. So, yung class na gagamitin natin is form group. Okay. And the next would be create tayo ng label para sa user. Alright. And then, nakalagay po sa label natin is the user. Then, we close the label. After that, mag-create tayo ng input text. Input text. So, we type in input. Yung type natin is text. You still remember this. In our previous example, we will be accessing its class property and we will be putting in form control. And then, ang ID natin dito is user. Ang name is username. Okay, let's close this one. And then, we will close our division tag because that actually completes our input for the username. And then, we will create another div tag. In this case, for the second div tag, gagamitin pa rin natin ito for form group. Group pa rin natin siya para naman dun sa password. No? So, create tayo ng label. Just like the one that we did in our text field. Okay, so after the label,